This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Dr. Suresh C. Gupta. Thank you very much, Dr. Gupta, for coming, and appreciated that very much. And Dr. Gupta is a wonderful person. He's going to tell us all about himself and what kind of things he's engaged and involved in. Tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Islam, for inviting me to your show. I have been in Washington, D.C. area since 1968. And I have lived in this area and have seen our community grow. When I came to this city, there were hardly 1,000 Indian American families, and it was very hard for us to live here without our friends and community. There were no Indian grocery stores, there was no Indian restaurants, and being a vegetarian, we really had tough time. We had not only to live here, but to compete with our American friends to be able to say that we are at least as good, if not better than you are, so that we could compete with them.
Compete in what sense? In a business as well as in what other aspect do you think we need to compete with them?
Since I'm a physician,
right.
I came here as a resident.
Right.
And to stay here as a resident and to prove my worth, I had to practice medicine in a manner that I could outdo them, outperform them, and be able to get residencies and fellowships in fields that I liked.
Sure.
And I wanted to go to university setting. I did go to Georgetown University Hospital for my pulmonary fellowship, and I completed my board certification both in internal medicine and pulmonary medicine at that time.
Wow.
And then started my practice.
You still practice?
I still practice. I
Wonderful.
practice part-time. And the practice, when I started, there were hardly any Indian Americans, physicians in the area who had their practice.
So you paved the way for the rest of us.
Well, in a
so
sense,
that we could be inspired from your story.
Well, basically what it is, I will say this thing, that we were instrumental in trying to get the ball rolling. When we came, as I said, there were none of those facilities available to us, and if we would have a function, we could not get any function going. I started with this thing about temples.
Okay.
In 1980s, and I was the one who started the seed or started Hindu temple in
Sure.
metropolitan Washington.
Sure.
And after that, when we used to have political fundraisers, we would be looking for photo opportunities. We'll not ask anything, we'll just want to have our pictures taken.
With the
and
politicians,
go.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I want to just shift a little bit some of the conversation and dialogue. And I know you talk about the getting and being engaged and involved very much heavily with the temple, which is great. I want to talk a little bit about your involvement in Diwali Mela, or it's called festivals. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, basically, somewhere in the early 90s, all the temples united to form a united Hindu-Jain group.
Okay.
And I became a part of it because I was the president of Hindu temple.
Okay.
And we used to meet quarterly and have lunch and do nothing else. So I said, why don't we involve the community and project the community and celebrate a festival which is celebrated all over India. And that's when the concept of Diwali Mela came about.
Okay. So that's how you got engaged.
That's right.
Now even the governor has embraced it, and I went to Diwali festival in the governor's residence.
And again, Diwali Mela has been continuously celebrated since 1995. This year we had a very nice function at FedEx Field. I started Diwali celebrations at the governor's mansion 3 years ago.
Okay.
And it has been a continuing process. Same way Montgomery County has been celebrating Diwali for the past 2 years. And we have had Diwali celebrated at the White House also, where last year
I was there.
President Obama came and
yes.
wished all of us a happy Diwali. And by the way, Diwali is around the corner. I wish all of our viewers a very happy and prosperous Diwali.
Well, thank you very much for your generosity and being able to engage the community as well as the Americans into this noble cause. That's the right thing to do. Now, I understand you were instrumental in the singing of the Hindu prayers, as I understand, in both the House and Senate in the Maryland Assembly. Tell us a little about it.
Basically, since I've been involved in this political activity, I asked my colleague and friend, Delegate Kumar Barve, I asked him that why can't we have a Maryland Assembly session start with a Hindu prayer? And he was instrumental in getting me Hindu prayer started there. So we have been singing.
So that was in the House?
We did both in the House
and the
as well as
Senate.
in the Senate. We did in
So, okay, that's a wonderful accomplishment. Now, we're talking about the accomplishment. I know you have been here for so long, and you have dedicated your life to serve our community, which is a wonderful thing to do. Tell us a little bit about all of your accomplishments. So, audience will be very much interested to know everything you have done in terms of your engagement and involvement.
Well, you know, in 1991, I was appointed by the then Governor, Mr. Paris Glendenning, to the Board of Physicians, or at that time called Maryland Board of Quality Assurance. And later on, I was appointed the chairman of the Maryland Board of Physician Quality Assurance, and I was the chairman for 3 years. I must tell you, and I don't want to boast here, but I was the first Indian American to be ever appointed a chair of any state medical board in the country. I was the first Indian American elected as a president of the Prince George's County Medical Society. I was the first Indian American elected as the president of Prince George's Hospital Center in
Wow.
Chevrolet. And there are several of those things. I was, and probably am still, is the only recipient of a recognition award or a unanimous award from both the House and Senate of Maryland for my services to the state of Maryland.
Wow. That's a really wonderful. Are you still actively engaged in all these boards and commissions that you talked about it?
Right now, I'm a member of the South Asian Affairs Commission. I'm
Okay.
a commissioner there.
Okay.
I was with the Asian Pacific Commission.
Okay.
And I had been also a member of Nursing Home Administrators
Okay.
Board.
Okay. So you're still actively engaged.
I am, and I hope to be continue to be
Continue to
engaged.
serve this great nation as well as community as well as this state.
Well, basically what it is that we Indian Americans have come a long way.
Yes.
And we have achieved a lot, and now Indian Americans are amongst the best in this country, and we can compete with anyone. And for that reason, I feel that one of our major projects and functions should be to promote our culture, let Americans know and our adopted land know that we have arrived and we need respect. We want to be recognized for who we are, and we want our due, and we want to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that we all become a part of this
The community.
US community.
In addition to giving back to the community.
That's exactly right.
As President John F. Kennedy once said, a nation reveals itself when it recognizes and rewards its talent. So you have said it very well. I wanted to talk about Affordable Health Care Act, which is also known as Obamacare. And I know President cares a lot about the health of this nation. What is your views? Is this the right thing to do? And there's a lot of discussion right now on Obamacare.
You know, I'm a registered Democrat and
Okay.
a very liberal Democrat.
Okay.
I voted for President Obama, and again, The election is around the corner. And being a physician, I have always been promoting the idea of single payer system. So as much as Obamacare takes care of single payer system or universal health care, it's not a single payer system, but universal health care, I'm for it. What, in my opinion, he failed to accomplish was to take care of medical liability reform. Because most of us physicians who practice medicine, we practice defensive medicine. Defensive medicine leads to increased costs. And unless we physicians are absolved of this medical liability, we will continue to practice defensive medicine, which will not accomplish one of the goals of affordable care, is reducing healthcare costs in this country.
What do you say to the people, the Republicans and the rest and the other party, you belong to the Democrats, they say we want to repeal and replace Obamacare. What do you say to them?
I would say amend it in a manner that the problems that are there in Obamacare are taken care of. What I would suggest to them is go back to the Democrats and say, if we cannot have a complete liability reform, let's have a medical liability reform only. That would cause the physicians to practice medical care which is evidence-based, and they would not have to worry about the defensive medicine that they practice. The problem with Obamacare also is, and I'm sure Mr. Romney also agrees, that there are some parts of Obamacare which are fine, like giving or enrolling people who are not able to get insurance, and also
Pre-existing
medical conditions, and the fact that children up to the age of
25.
They should be covered.
Right.
So I think those are all very important things which everyone agrees to. Where I have a difference is, why this liability reform is not there is because Democrats usually are supported by the trial lawyers. And trial lawyers don't want to deal with this any kind of liability reform. And if President Obama takes care of his people, the trial lawyers, and the Republicans, they would then come out to say, let's have at least a partial liability reform only in the healthcare field, and if they want to deal with this, I think they will accomplish a lot.
Well, that's your view, and I'm sure that the other side of the aisle also say, in addition to repealing, as well as replacing, as well as getting rid of it, they also talk about it's cost $7 to $16 billion, which I haven't figured this thing out. Perhaps this is not the topic of discussion right now, but I want to shift the gears and talk a little bit about and segue some of the things you talked about engagement and so on. Why, tell this audience why anybody should be engaged politically, and what's the purpose is, and why should anyone make a campaign contribution? What does it do to them?
Basically, it's getting involved in the political process. We are here, we are prosperous, we are living here, and we will be living here. Unless we get involved in all the activities right from grassroots levels, local, city, county, every level, we want them to know that we are here, we are part of you.
So you have the voice.
So that we have a voice.
So you have a seat on the table.
And that's why I have been pushing my friends to not only support candidates at the state level or federal level, but also at the city level. We make so many contributions and donations every year, but we need to give contributions to the police, to the fire department, to these other smaller entities. As a group coming from Indian American community, we pool all our resources and give $5,000 here, $10,000 here, $20,000 there, so that they then know that it's coming from our community.
So you're participating in every level of the government,
You have
which is the
to.
state, the local, as well as the federal government.
No question about it. To have our voices heard, you have to do that. And otherwise, if we have a problem, we don't have a foot in the door to go to any person. This gives us a platform to go and tell them that we are with you, we want our voices heard. And they will hear your voice when you are part of the team, otherwise we'll be lost.
Do you think the government is like a partner for all of us, and it creates a common cause, unifies the people?
We have to expect it, we have to respect it, and we have to demand it.
You have to demand it.
That's right.
So that's what you tell the audience, to actively pursue and participate in political process.
No
Pursuing
question.
means running for elections as well, if possible.
And, no question about it. We can only be successful in this country if we get ourselves involved in the political system. Why I started the Diwali Mela was because I want our brothers and sisters in USA to know who we are, who
Yes.
we live, how we live, and what kind of culture do we come from. So I think it's all a process wherein we have to mingle with the local community and project ourselves.
Well, that's showing a different face of America.
While
A face of America that wants to engage the people of different color, creeds, culture, background, and belief, and tell them our story.
there's no question about it.
Okay.
We have to do that.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much for coming to our show, Dr. Gupta. It has been a pleasure, and thank you very much for all your service to this community, to our community, Indian American community, to this nation, to the state, and all of the rest, what you do for our nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Islam. It was nice to be on this program, and I would encourage all of our community members to get involved in not just political activity but community activity, so that they can bring a better name for our community.
Very well said. Very nicely said. That is our show. This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week, and thank you very much for watching.